Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is the Papa Joe Show, where Papa Joe knows. I am your host, Papa Joe. I am very sorry that I am late today. Had a lot of things going on just a few minutes right before this show started, and then my system decided to go and laugh at me and restart. So I'm sorry about that. Anyhow, we're here, we're live, we're trying to go run through this today. We're going to take a look at some interesting information that Yellen is saying about the IRS, which is odd. But there are some things coming down the pipe that make me kind of wonder just how much validity there is to it. So we're going to kind of talk about it and throw my opinion out there on there for you guys. Also, we're going to take a look at some on-chain information today, where we pretty much have some interesting stuff taking place in Bitcoin markets. I want you to pay attention to those as well. And then we're going to take a look at some stuff that Bank of America is saying, and I'm going to give you some thoughts around that as well. So buckle up. It's going to be a fun show. But before I do that, do me a favor. If you are watching live and you are enjoying the content that we put out here, do me a favor and comment in the chat. I would love to see the conversation running and at least see who's watching, right? Another thing, I'd love it if you do. If you're new, do me a favor and give us a subscribe, and then grab the bell. That way you know every time we go live. We do several times a week. And then check all the links in the description of the video. There are some fun stuff in there for sure. Anyways, so let's jump in to the content shower. U.S. Treasury Yellen says the IRS needs to be completely redone. What in the world? Why? So the U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen on Sunday, yesterday, said rebuilding the Internal Revenue Service would be one of her top priorities in coming years, putting her squarely at odds with Republicans who have taken control of the House of Representatives. I don't really necessarily agree with that statement, but whatever. She has been already. Anyways, Yellen told Reuters in an interview on her way to Zambia. Okay, anyways, that she was thrilled that Congress had approved $80 billion in new funding to help the agency reduce a huge backlog of tax returns and better hunt down $600 billion in unpaid bills. Yeah, right. No. Anyways, she said she decided to stay as Treasury Secretary in long part to oversee implementation of legislation like the Inflation Reduction Act, which included IRS funding and passed on party lines last year. All this is interesting stuff. So she wants to come out and she is saying that they want to rebuild the IRS entirely. Now, some of you follow along on the Patreon show, and some of you follow along on the private Telegram channel that is part of that Patreon, where you get to have the conversation around what's taking place in the different parts of the world. But I'm being very careful how to say things on this show here. It has to do with the re-evaluation of everything. We'll put it that way. Y'all understand what I'm saying. Those of you who are following along, you get that. So it's very interesting that she's now coming out saying she wants to rebuild the IRS. Well, does that mean get rid of the IRS? Or is it entirely kind of thing? Well, on this show, you guys and gals all know that the IRS is a privately funded organization. It is a private company. It is not part of the government at all. Same with the Federal Reserve. It's federal in name only. There is nothing federal about it. It is a central bank privately owned by stakeholders who nobody knows because they're not listed anywhere. Go figure that out. And if you haven't read The Creature from Jekyll Island, go read it, and it'll kind of give you an overview of what's going on there. Yeah, fun stuff. So we're going to take a look at that. Is going to be, sorry, my system just, I'm having technical issues today. And you think I need to rebuild my system. All right, so that worked. Great, cool. Anyway, so yeah, she's sitting here saying she wants to rebuild this. I don't know what that means, but it could mean that it has to do with a lot of things. Yeah, the House of Representatives, who are mostly controlled by Republicans, doesn't necessarily mean that they're not Republicans in name only. But anyways, they put forward the bill to get rid of the IRS entirely, and just go to, I guess, a sales tax or a flat tax or whatever they're called, um, where it would more than fund everything that they had. Right. Well, this puts everything back into the Treasury. Well, the Treasury does their stuff um, differently. They used to be in charge of the revenue that the taxation put through. Well, that's not how it works anymore. The tax that you pay goes to pay the interest on the debt that is borrowed by your government from the Federal Reserve. It's just this circle. You know what I mean? Anyhow, oh, the joys we're going to see going forward here. So all that's taking place. Guess what? On-chain metrics flashing crypto market bottom. So this is something that a lot of people aren't paying attention to. There are most people aren't paying attention to. But when it comes to Bitcoin or any charts, they're looking at the price charts. They're not looking at the on-chain charts. Okay, they're looking at what's happening in the vicinity of the price. Right? They're not looking at the on-chain metrics. The on-chain metrics really, really, really have a lot bigger difference. I guess you should say a different story to tell than the pricing does. So anyhow, on-chain metrics. So there's a couple different ones out there that do them. Uh, I'm my brain is completely blank on what the one I use the most is. I don't remember. If I do, I'll put it in the description of the video. But anyways, you can find them. Anyways, this article is discussing a macro environment as still wobbly. Yeah, well, we'll see. Market intelligence firm Into the Block. Okay, so that is one of the others. Sorry, I guess I should have just read that. Says that even though on-chain data is hinting a bear market bottom for crypto assets, the overall macro environment is still shaky. We'll see. In a new article, the crypto analytics firm finds that the number of long-term Bitcoin holders or traders have owned Bitcoin for at least a year. Burgund on or that started in 2022, noting the investor class is known for purchasing the king crypto during bear markets and creating a support level. Hodlers supporting the bottom long-term Bitcoin holders historically take advantage of bear markets. Yes, we do. We definitely do. So anyhow, there was one other piece in here. Previous bear markets have bottomed after getting to the point where 50% or more of the holders are losing money on their positions, classified as out of the money by Into the Block. Macro correlations are back after diverging into paths throughout the FTX collapse. Crypto and stocks have been moving in tandem again, which is not good because the stock market is most likely going to fall out of the daggone sky any day now. The correlation, don't hold me to that. Anyhow, correlation coefficient between the NASDAQ and Bitcoin is back to about 86.86 currently. Very interesting connections there, suggesting a very strong statistical relationship between the two. So you gotta love the Daily Hodler. Sometimes they have great articles, and sometimes they put stuff in there where it's like, well, they're pointing out that they're correlating, and yes, they're correlating because I keep telling you guys this. The regular day traders are also trading crypto, and they're doing it during the day. So they're doing it with the way that they're doing the rest of their stuff. They're putting some money in there, and it's staying where it's at, and is moving, etc. Let's see. Bitcoin is changing hands for 22,000 at the time, or right above it. It's right now currently 22.9. So interesting. We hit 23 over the weekend, which is really, really cool. It was a nice birthday. Fun little present to see it pop a little bit. So anyhow, So you have on-chain information suggesting that the bear market is over, and you have the Treasury Secretary saying the IRS is going to be rebuilt, if at all done. Yeah. What happens when you do construction on something? Well, you got to stop. You got to close the doors. So, is there like a tax holiday when this happens or something? Who knows? That never ends. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, who remembers what happened this past couple of weeks with Bank of America? Yeah, there was accounts that just straight up went to zero for no reason, and Bank of America can't figure out why. At least that I've seen. They can't figure out why. If you guys are Bank of America account holders, you feel like putting any information out there, raise your hand. Okay, yeah, that happened to me. Did they fix it? Did they not fix it? Put it in the comments of the video or in the live chat here as well. I'm curious to see if they fixed it for anybody, which I haven't seen anybody else do that yet. And now that that's happened, they're pushing CBDCs. CBDCs could revolutionize global financial systems, the Bank of America says. The Bank of America analyst heralds the most significant technological advancement in the history of money. No, Bitcoin was. Not CBDCs. Bitcoin was. Bitcoin is, excuse me. Close second is Litecoin, then Divi, and then guy can go on forever kind of thing. Anyhow, at least 114 central banks representing 58% of the all countries, which generate 95% of the global GDP, are now exploring central bank digital currencies up from 35 in May of 2020. And a team of cryptocurrency analysts from Bank of America is unabashedly, I guess you could say, bullish on the tech. Yep, digital currencies appear inevitable. A new research report from Bank of America concludes we view distributed ledgers and digital currencies such as CBDCs and stablecoins as a natural evolution of today's monetary and payment systems. You gotta love it. Their accounts go to zero, and now they're coming out and saying something about this. Literally, CBDCs. You really want them to touch your money at all after losing it for some reason? Holding or custodiing it like that? That is just, it's a bad idea. Interesting. Lithia, good point. Thank you for bringing that out since we're right here in the show. Someone said, go read Bank of America Instagram comments. A lot of people are affected. I can only imagine. I'm really good. My heart goes out to those who were affected with that. I don't think they fixed anything. And if they think that they're going to put a new payment system in place and they're going to call it, the narrative is trying to push people that CBDCs and stablecoins are what needs to happen. And it's not. It's not. Okay. Oh, this will be fun. I'm going to bring this up for y'all. That's interesting. We will pull this up here. Oh, well, you know what? I can't. So if you're part of the private Telegram, I'm going to share something in there right now that is very, very interesting around the U.S. Democrats' push to eliminate the debt ceiling, allowing unlimited borrowing for the government. Yep. That just came across. I put it in the Telegram channel. If you're not part of the Patreon, I highly recommend you get part of it. Lots of information that gets shared in that private Telegram channel, and it's not just stuff about this. It's really, really interesting stuff. So, anyways, always remember to eat the chicken and leave the bone. But you can always learn something. I would not trust Bank of America or any banking system at all, period, with anything to do with cryptocurrency. They're trying to push the narrative that CBDCs and stablecoins are the newest and greatest thing. I'm going to read this right here. I'm going to read it again. The Bank of America analyst heralds the most significant technological advancement of our history of money is CBDCs. Baloney, guys. You gotta know. Look, CBDCs is a byproduct of Bitcoin. CBDC is a controlled currency. very controlled by the banking system. I really, really want y'all to get this and to drive this home. CBDCs are controlled, are a control mechanism for your life. They're doing this in China where they're actually putting this into people's hands. They're actually testing this. They're actually doing different stuff around that. Our central bank here in the Federal Reserve is testing it. Other central banks around the world are. Like you said, the article said here. What was it? 58% of the global banks are actually who produce 95% of the global GDP are looking into CBDCs. So if that's the case, and they're going to try to push this narrative and continue to try to push this narrative that CBDCs, y'all watch. They will push this probably June, July, sometime this year. We'll start to see the Federal Reserve coming out and talking more and more about it. Y'all got to know and understand Bitcoin will eventually be the means of exchange. It will. Go look at stuff Cliff High has talked about. The way that it's the path in which we get there, it's a bumpy one. It is. All right, they're going to redo the digital or they're going to redo the fiat currency system, make it all digital, and they're going to try and track everything. And when people realize that they're tracking everything you're doing, they're going to move and want everything to do with Bitcoin. Everything possible to do with stuff like Litecoin. Bitcoin will become so valuable from a store of value and a method by which nations settle debts amongst each other or buy or sell amongst each other. Litecoin, something like Divi, something that is more of a means of exchange will end up coming into play and being used for regular transactions. People want Bitcoin to do that. Lightning Network kind of provides that protocol to let that happen, and it very well could. It very well could. But I think people will look at it as a way of storing value. I really, really do. That's just my personal opinion. And another personal opinion of mine is when the markets fail, and they will, they are, you will see all of that fiat run into Bitcoin. It'll run into the crypto market as a whole. Okay. We've seen a run in crypto. This is the daily chart. Let's look over here at the hourly chart. It's been steadily climbing, and it's going to continue to steadily climb. Because that is what it does at about this time every year before the halving. Can never stop saying it that way. It starts to really run. The Nasdaq is up, the S&P 500 is up, the Dow is up. All these are up, sort of. But if we go to the day, something that runs that long without correcting hard like this, it's just never a good thing. Gold and silver is down today, which is interesting. It was down 3.5%, which is odd. You got Divi, which is also looks like it's having some fun. I'd say that, but I'm being sarcastic. We'll see what happens when the liquidity starts really pumping in there. You got Matic also, which is doing great, back up to $1. It's very interesting. Now, Axi's interesting. If you're paying attention to Axie at all, this is the day chart. Look at the pump from yesterday. Okay. The metaverse playing of games is an interesting topic, one that I haven't talked about much on the show. Because, well, I haven't seen it mature well enough to do that. But as far as the residual income is concerned, Axie is a game that is played around the world that people enjoy doing, and you can actually earn a return from just helping support the network. Now, you've got home mortgages that are coming back down, it looks like, but we'll see how long it lasts. We'll see what happens when the Fed raises rates again. Who knows, right? The Dixie is also down, which also helps Bitcoin. The more down that goes, the better Bitcoin ends up going and being and doing and whatever it's going to do. But that's because people are recognizing that the dollar's crap and they're moving into crypto, like I've been saying. All right, let's run through the chat here to say hey to everyone. I have a meeting I have to run to in just a few minutes, and I got to get some stuff ready for it. So All fun stuff. What's going on, Lithia? How are you? Thanks for being part of the show, and thanks for the comment below as well. I really appreciate it. John, what's going on? Good afternoon to you. Thanks for being part of the show. I appreciate you being here today. We've got Trinity SS in the house. What's up? Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it as always. And we've got Bitcoin Bull here as well. What's going on, man? This is one of the clues. Yeah, boy. Fun stuff. Appreciate you being here, man. Corey, how's it going? Can you demo on Magic Link, please? Not today, but potentially soon. That might be something I play around with and give you guys a demo. Considering the fact that it has to do with the mobile wallet, I need to figure out a way to screencast that for you guys to see that without giving any other information away. So let me figure out a way to securely do that for you, and I will probably give that to you. Let's see here. Who else do we have? Yeah, Bitcoin Bull. Sorry. Again, I was late to the live. Had some stuff to take care of, and my system decided to laugh at me. To put it to perspective for you guys. Kenny and Karen, thanks for being part of the show. Appreciate it. Thanks for being here today. Who else is in the house? Fantastic. Okay, cool. All right. Cool. So you guys have a great rest of the day. I should have a Patreon this afternoon, 4:30 Eastern, as long as everything goes normal. And if you're not part of the Patreon, check it out. It's linked in the description of the video. I do appreciate those of you who have. It does, well, that's my coffee. Let's just put it that way. Just being honest. That's a good Colombian too. Anyways, y'all be blessed. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk to you soon. Take it easy.